Hey everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are doing episode 3 of Buddy Valastro's Cake Journey. Is that right?
Cake Journey?
Cake...
What are you talking...
Cake Dynasty.
It's Cake Dynasty.
Sorry, Cake Dynasty. It's also a journey too when they try to deliver their cakes to wherever they're going, and their children. One who has just a learner's permit is driving this big cake, and I mean, any of them. And last week it was Buddy Jr. Was he driving?
Yeah.
I think so. And Marco and I are sitting there. It's like the most stressful part of the episode was them getting, they're going through New York City, and I mean, they're going through very busy parts of the country to get to the location. So this week was another little bit of a stress test. Everything else was calm and businesslike, but the very last bit with Marco, which is funny because Marco was talking about Marco.
Shut up.
Doing just having his learner's permit, and they did have an experienced older what do they call him? He's been around the business ever since I think his father, Buddy's father, had been there, and he was in the passenger seat helping him. So it didn't look that bad.
So this episode is more of a calm episode than the last one.
Yes.
It was kind of like maybe a break episode. I can't imagine that next week will be another stressful one. I think that maybe that was just an exception for Mother's Day, but we've never really seen a Cake Boss episode that stressful though. Like in the past, like they never have one where the whole episode you felt like you were as stressed as they were, which was kind of interesting.
Well,
so
I think it's the addition of having that factory and he said in this episode at the beginning too that they've had more online orders and more custom cakes to do than ever before.
That's because it's available now.
Yeah.
And so, that's what happens. Like, we've gotten stuff online before, and then also he was debating about whether or not to add a savory menu to his bakery. And I thought that it's a pretty good idea because the only time that I've ever made pizza is using his recipe, and it was really, really good. Really, really, really good. So, that was his recipe. And I think that he would be able to do savory menu items as well. So, they were kind of testing out this pizza. I didn't really get much of a good look at it because I was too busy focusing on Sophia and Buddy Jr. decide to have a sandwich making contest, and I was thinking well, obviously the girl is going to be better at making a sandwich.
Well, yeah, but they could still think about what they would like, and they did have help.
Sophie, that was
chef.
That was a joke. You're supposed to be
know.
No, Marco. That's what you're supposed to do. No.
Well, she is older, right? So.
No, I was saying just because she was a girl.
Oh, well.
In
that family, I don't know if it matters.
Really?
Yeah. I don't see I don't see Mrs. Valastro cooking a lot.
She does.
Okay, well.
She has to. They have a family. What can they do? Just get takeout Chinese? No.
I don't know why you even say that. It's just that, I guess, it is a fixed. They have everything planned out, the people who do the episodes. And, he brings out this pizza, and, he probably has it down to a science. He probably could do it with his eyes closed. And they're big cookie sheet sized. You're talking about a family with several kids, and then he and his wife. So, you'd have to have it like that. But they're big cookie sheet sized pizzas, and they look really good. It's just different to see pizza presented that way.
It might have a lot of calories too. because his cake, I think like each slice has like 700 to 1,000 calories.
Those slices that you get?
Yeah.
Really?
Because they're so rich and everything. And so I feel like maybe the pizza might have a lot of calories as well. And that's the one thing that I would say is that if they want to open up like a savory menu, then I would probably recommend that they do items that maybe aren't as rich. Because, like, if you're a fan of their bakery, then maybe you go there and get a piece of pizza and you get a piece of cake. But if both things have too many calories, like it's TGI Fridays or something, then people aren't going to be as attracted like me. Like, I'm not going to, because it's just too much.
Well, I think also they have another, is it Lisa? The wife is, Mrs. Valastro, is in charge of the vending machine area of the business, which I think is new too. And we don't have this here, but we've seen it in Chicago when we went to the cupcake bakery. And they had a vending machine. You get your cupcakes in a vending machine. Well, it looks like they have vending machines where they can get those cake slices.
Oh, okay, never mind. It says like 500 to 600. Well, that's a lot better, actually. I thought it was more than that, but like maybe it's just because he has a piece of cake that's on the TGI Fridays menu. And TGI Fridays, we never go there. And that is literally only because it's like thousands of calories for the whole meal. The dessert alone, 1,000 plus calories. And it's just too much.
Yeah.
I'd rather have something that's medium sized and then has like a lot less calories.
Yeah. So they have their hands in a lot of different business ventures. And this savory contest this is actually one of the first things that comes up in the episode. They're talking about this pizza. They're all at the family table outside. And Sophia and Buddy Jr. are going to each make a sandwich. And they're going to have a contest. And what's going to happen is the people at the factory are going to taste them to see which one wins. And then later on, they're going to have another, just the visitors to this place, which we'll talk about in a minute. They're going to taste their sandwiches to see who wins.
That part of the episode was kind of fun for me because it kind of reminded me a little bit of Hell's Kitchen, where they have those types of contests. So I wonder if they'll do that a lot in this series. If they'll have little contests.
I think it's fun.
Because they did have contests like that in the Cake Boss show. Like, you remember that one episode where the men and the women competed together to see who would lose more weight in a week?
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah, I think so.
That was fun. Stuff like that. So I had a lot of fun with that. And in general, I like this episode quite a bit. It's probably the best episode so far simply because it wasn't a panic attack episode. Like, the whole episode wasn't just like...
And
right.
It really surprised me, too, because usually when you're talking about Mother's Day, you're talking about the restaurant business as being the busiest and most stressful. So this was a different aspect to Mother's Day that I had not seen or even thought about. So I thought it was interesting to learn about.
And what's the main part of the main story, I guess, of the episode is this cake for
Walker Hayes,
yeah, who
is a TikTok country singer, and he has 6 kids, and I think they probably do I haven't seen how they lived, but I'd have to check to see how they lived. Like, do they live on a schoolie, or how do they live in a big camper? Are they camper van people? I have no idea. but they travel with the kids, he and his wife, and they have this song, and it's like a TikTok viral sensation song. So it's Walker Hayes. So if you want to look for it, you should, because they did play some of the song. It sounded like a pretty neat song.
I thought it sounded terrible.
No, I just thought it was very fun. You know, it's not.
It'd be fun for you.
Well, it's just not one of these
Dopey
country songs where they're
Dopey
singing about
Sophie.
divorce and crying and all this kind of stuff.
Country is cancer.
That's not very nice. Don't do that. A lot of people like country music. You
Well,
can't do that.
Sorry, but
Well, I'm sorry too. You have to be more. You have to be
Country.
fairer to all sorts of music.
Country
Everybody has their own
sucks.
taste. You can't do that.
Yeah, but like there's such a thing as good music and then country music.
Well, this is a TikTok thing.
And then
I don't
also
do TikTok,
rap music. Country and rap I don't consider
Marco's least favorite.
I don't consider those to be legitimate music.
Well, that's not right. I
Too
just
bad.
don't agree with that. I think everybody. I like all different kinds of music. It all has a place.
As long as it's good. You know, country and rap just aren't good at all.
Marco, don't do that anymore.
Why?
Don't do that. Because I just don't think it's right.
Safi,
Anyway, let's
you
continue.
you spent an hour yesterday bullying those people who made the haunted mansion.
What are you talking about?
You spent an hour just like ragging on them and calling Jared Leto a lesbian and all that stuff.
I didn't say anything like that.
And in this, you're like,
Okay.
Marco, you have to be nice to country music because
I don't think you can
it's
be
like,
so narrow
ugh.
like that. And you can't do that. It's just not fair.
Why?
Because it's just not fair.
Is-
Everybody has its place.
Is country music gonna cry?
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, let's continue on. Well, anyway, Walker Hayes, I guess he sings at this Mohegan, is it a casino? Yeah, and it's a very upscale, popular place. And Carlo's Bakery has a bakery there in Mohegan. And so Buddy meets with the head of Mohegan, and they talk about they want to celebrate Walker Hayes' hit. And it's about, I guess, don't they say Oreo shakes in the song? And so
I guess it's like kind of like a romance, and they talk about like enjoying all this different types of food and alcohol together and dancing
the dance, yeah, that's about a dance or something. I
being
don't
in a
know.
car and so we should also mention one of the main stories of this episode is that Buddy Jr. is doing an official internship at
the bakery.
at the Cake Boss land.
Well, it's
And
not at the bakery, it's at the factory.
so he gets a taste of everything. And right off the bat, like I knew right off the bat that he wasn't gonna like any of this stuff, and that like because they're like trying to see, kind of like in that I Love Lucy episode, they're trying to see like what he'll fit in best doing.
And it's really based on what he likes and what he wants to wake up doing.
First off, he goes through all these meetings, and he's really, really bored. You can see it's just like, he's like 18 or
He's
something?
playing with his phone. Yeah, he's a senior.
And he's so immature, he doesn't give a fuck about a meeting.
But he did come up with the filling for the cake.
Yeah, and so...
It's very important.
Well, right there, like, I was saying, like, look, I already knew right off the bat that's what he wanted to do. And so, like, right when they did that, and when he talked about the Oreo filling, I was like, see, there you go. That's where he fits. Making cake. And he chose Oreo filling as a tribute to the song, where they say something about Oreo milkshakes.
And so the thing, though...
It was a very smart choice.
It was, and he did it. He was real quick about it, too. He didn't even have to think about it. And the decision they have to make about that, though, it isn't just that it's Oreo filling, cake filling. It's either a pastry type filling or is it going to be a buttercream type filling? So that's a very important thing because Buddy has to actually experiment around with the fillings to see which would be the best. And so then they have to come up with all the parts to the cake. And in this cake, probably unlike any cake I've seen in a while anyway, we've only seen 3 episodes, but I'm just thinking too when they did the cake box, this had lots of components. And they still didn't mention any Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was nice.
Well, it is nice. And
because I was getting kind of sick of watching Cake Boss and seeing, okay, now we got our Rice Krispie treats, and we got our fondant, and we got our cardboard.
That's right, there's nothing about fondant either. I didn't even think about that.
But they do use it, you can see it. They use the fondant still. And mottling chocolate.
I wonder if they, why they decided not to do the Rice Krispie treats anymore.
Maybe they saw everybody making fun of them, and they thought, we don't want to be known as the Rice Krispie family. We want to be known as the Cake family. And so they changed their I don't know. But Buddy Jr., he has to go and do these kind of little chores to see where he'll fit. And so he also goes with his mom to do an interview about the vending machines.
She needs to hire more vending machine truck drivers.
And he was really bored with that, too. Which I could have told you right off the bat.
They just had one person come in, and one of their employees, who's a long time, he's a family member. He was a fireman, and it was a fellow fireman. So he gave him, he vouched for him. So they already actually had a referral, personal family referral about this guy. But it's still good. If he's going to help in managing that place, because one of these days, maybe he won't be able to do it anymore. He passes away. They have to know every aspect of the business. Because if something's not working,
oh, I know. I'm just saying.
Have to know why.
I'm just saying because they were kind of treating it like they're putting a puzzle piece in and seeing where the puzzle piece will fit. And I was like, I know exactly where he'll fit. He'll be fit making the cake. And then he also does a little busy work with Grace. Where
she's the manager, she's the financial and management part.
She comes up with saying greetings and what to say to customers and how to talk to them and
she wants to get, if you go to certain companies and you apply, or you go to a hotel, you get this brochure, and it tells about all the parts of the hotel, for example, all the services they provide. And what they have to offer there in terms of selling. They might have a little grocery store. And when you go to a company, they'll have another kind of a guide to, especially if they work with customers, what to ask the customer, what not to ask the customer about what they want or don't want. And so it'd be something like that. And they don't have anything like that, apparently. And for employees, Grace wants to have something like that, and so she was having Buddy help her put one together. But he just did the basics. She was actually having him write it on the computer in his own little office area. So. Sorry.
And then they're working on the cake, and they have a really funny moment where Buddy tells Buddy Jr. Buddy tells Buddy Jr. to put these French fries on the cake, and he's putting them on there continuously, and his dad was like, okay, now I want to look at, and his son just kept doing it, and he's like, okay, this is good, and his dad got really mad because he wasn't listening to him.
Well, he didn't say it was good yet. It's his decision, not Buddy Jr.'s. And when he kind of stood up to his dad like that, and the other employees had a breakdown.
Because they knew that if they did that, they'd be disciplined and
They had horrified looks on their faces.
given a whooping.
I thought it was funny.
But see, that's the thing about this whole interaction between Buddy and Buddy Jr. is that because they're family,
it's
gonna
a family thing.
It's gonna be a lot different than all these other employees.
That's right.
Because like Buddy Jr. is like a mini Buddy, essentially, and even though they have a really good relationship, they're going to have a lot of differences and have a lot of like fighting. And I know that they're going to be fighting a lot because it's just like in Hell's Kitchen this season where you had all those girls who think they're really, really good and they're a terrible team because all they do is fight because they all think that they're the best. And so they're always like butting heads, and it's going to be the exact same way with him and Buddy. With Buddy and Buddy. And so, but they'll just have to learn to deal with it.
That's the thing of what I said in the very beginning about families, having family members in the business. That's a very big dynamic, which is complicated. It can be complicated. So,
yeah.
We'll see what happens, but anyway, it all worked out. But there was, like, the woman who sculpts, she, as usual, what they had to do was, when they started doing the cake, as usual, they have like 3 days or something.
Well, don't we have a nickname for her yet?
No.
Because there's got to be something about her being a nerd.
Well, she's very...
because she's got that nerdy look.
She has artistic temperament.
She's like that nerdy girl who is good at art.
She's a really good sculptor. Really. And she said chocolate, which is what they use, modeling chocolate, she said it was the worst thing to use when you're sculpting. I mean, she just was saying it's hard.
Well, I want to come up with a really good nickname that'll be kind of hilarious and kind of sad.
She's not sad. She's just serious.
She always looks sad.
Well, she's serious.
She's walking around and she's got those glasses and she's like, I'm always stressed. I always have to do stuff at the last minute.
No,
you guys are
like doing her art.
You're trying to make me work really fast.
At the last minute.
You're gonna make me look like a bad artist.
Yeah, she doesn't like that. They really have to appease her because she is so good.
So what's the nickname?
I don't know.
What are some?
Just think about it for a while.
What are some famous nerds?
I have no idea. Albert Einstein?
No, that's not a nerd. He's a genius. That's different. A nerd is someone.
Stephen Colbert.
He's a fucking retard. He's not a nerd.
Well, he's hilarious.
Oh, nerds from pop culture. Oh, Jimmy Neutron. Well, it's too bad because well, you go ahead and keep talking. I'm gonna think of a nerd.
But one thing that was brought up, which I thought was interesting, it's a very private medical thing, and it can affect people's ability to do their work. But both dad and son have dyslexia, and he talked about, I read there's something out just in the last week about dyslexia may have been widely misdiagnosed. But he starts talking of the son.
I got the perfect nickname.
He starts talking about it, and it sounds like legitimate dyslexia. So go ahead.
The perfect nickname. This is for Anna, the sculptor, the head sculptor. She's a nerd.
Why don't you just call her Anna?
No, I don't like calling people by their names. So she will be Velma Dinkley because she looks a lot like Velma Dinkley.
Oh.
Right, Safi, from Scooby-Doo?
I guess you can call her Velma.
Yeah, let's call her Velma. So Velma, boom. Go ahead, Safi. Beat that.
Well, I don't know what else to say. There was a couple of other little instances.
Oh, come on. Well, Buddy Jr., his sandwich turns out to be meatball parmesan sandwich, which is basically a what, Safi?
A meatball sub.
Yeah, that's basically
from,
what it is.
Subway. That's what I thought of right away when you said meatball.
I was like, oh.
Where else do you get a meatball sandwich?
What do you mean?
What other fast food place? Of course, we don't live.
Pizza places.
We don't live in that area, but maybe
It's really mainly pizza places.
I guess.
But then, of course, I always get half of a meatball sub at Subway, and then half turkey, so that it's kind of like you can have fun with two sandwiches. It's more fun with two than one, and so.
And then she came up with a roast beef sandwich, which
Sophia,
I thought sounded better.
Yeah, like, do you want to eat Buddy Jr.'s meatballs, or do you want to eat Sophia's roast beef? Well, I would prefer to eat Sophia's roast beef, especially...
I don't like meatball sandwiches.
Yeah, because her sandwich had sauce.
Yeah, and
you
also...
could dip it in.
They have a chef at this Mohegan place. He's like an executive chef, and he's also, I would say, he have to be a kind of expert in baking too, because he said a good sandwich starts out with good bread. So he picked some kind of, it seems like it was buttery, a stiff, and not hard, but something that's going to hold together and not fall apart bread. It looked really good. And it wasn't like a sub. It was like bread, but it was like a roll in a way, like a large square roll for a sandwich. And he picked the bread because he said that a good sandwich starts with good bread. And then they came up with it, and it didn't sound like it took very long for them to come up with their sandwiches.
Well, I thought it was funny the fact that, like, he was saying that Sophia isn't very good at cooking because she usually just heats up food that her mom makes.
Oh.
But then Sophia's like, I make a lot of food, excuse me. I'm Sophia, and I can make a lot of food. And Buddy Jr.'s like, I want you guys to try my meatballs. My meatball sandwich. I'm the mini Buddy. I'm just as good as Buddy, but mini. And so I really felt like it was like a no contest type of thing. Because even though I like a meatball sandwich, I'd much rather have that sandwich that Sophia made. And honestly...
This would be something for a vending machine, too. I don't think you'd want to get a meatball sandwich in a vending machine.
Well, I don't think they're just talking about vending machines, so...
I'm not sure.
Well, I am sure. So, I really feel like, though, if they added that sandwich online, I would order the sandwich to eat it. Like, that's something I would want to order from Gold Belly. Safi?
I guess.
What?
I don't know. we've never... When we order, we've had, like... In
That's
Chicago,
a lie,
we've
Safi.
had Portillo's.
We got pizza from Gold Belly.
Yeah, I know. Pizza and a sandwich are two different things.
Well, you can be racist towards sandwiches all you want, Safi, but sandwiches are just the same as any other type of food.
Okay, so first they have a contest in the factory, which I said, and then they'll have a contest at Mohegan. But anyway, first they're at the factory, and the employees there tried their sandwiches, and it was a blind taste test, so they didn't know who made what. And so majority liked the roast beef. And I thought Buddy was the son. See, this is what the problem of having your child have the same name as you do. I just don't agree with it. So anyway, it doesn't matter who it is. They've asked me to do that with my firstborn. I said no. So anyway, they preferred the roast beef, and I thought Buddy was a good sport about it. He didn't act like he cared. And so then, at the end, when they go to drop off the cake, but there's a couple issues before then, so we'll just talk about that first, and then we'll talk about the thing with the contest at the Mohican. So anyway, in the middle of making the cake, they have to delay doing the filling because remember, he doesn't know whether to make it a pastry or a buttercream, which would be right for the cake. Because remember, this is Oreo filled. How are they going to do that with the cookies, etc., etc.? So anyway, there's a labeling problem. So you know those cake slices that he sells, the labels were not, they were sticking like 4 to a package or something, weren't sticking properly. And apparently it got jammed. So you had this whole string of employees that didn't have anything to do while they had to fix the machine. So, you know, it was just like one of the problems that can come up every day that he has to deal with. And that, you know, can delay other things that they do, like making this cake. Go ahead, Marco.
I don't know. They finish the cake and Marco delivers it. I didn't deliver it. Marco on the show delivered it, and he did a fine job.
He did do a really good job.
And then they have their competition at this place, and once again, roast beef wins because everybody likes Sophia's roast beef. And then that's the end of the episode. So I would give it an A.
Yeah, I would too. I thought it had just the right amount of.
This is a fun show.
Yeah, which is nice. And there's no yelling. There's no throwing things on the floor. You know, and you know, it's interesting to see the issues that come up with having a big business like that, and also family issues and family, like the contest between the 2 oldest kids, and all the family helping each other out and their participation in the business. I think it's really fun and interesting. So
I would also say
we liked his cake too, by the way. The whole family did.
Yeah, the cake was fine. I preferred the cake from last episode with the horse.
Oh, we should say what the cake was. The main part of the cake, the part I think that they were eating, it had to be, was the cooler. And it weighed 300 pounds. And little Buddy, he made the handles to the cooler. And to make it, you know how coolers have kind of a surface that's not smooth, it's kind of like textured. Well, they made the texture from a really nice towel, like a bath towel, and so it was just the right amount. It was just the right amount of texture. It was really good. So, and then of course the other people, they had stickers on the cooler. They had old beer cans and styrofoam glasses, but it was all made out of cake and edible paint and modeling chocolate.
I would say that the most stressful thing, though, would probably be the fact that, like, while they're going through all of this, what do they have around them? They have cameras, and they have this reality show crew, and the reality show crew, they're not a part of the cake business. So all the reality crew is thinking about is, like, how do we make this footage into an episode? And like, okay, we have to interview that person for that. And it's like, I think it would be more stressful just the fact that, like, while they're doing all this stuff, they have, what do they have? They have the people with the cameras right there. Right?
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
I didn't even think about that either.
Buddy Jr., like, what do they even think about that? Like, they've never even really talked about that on the show, which is kind of funny. Because you know they probably have an opinion on it. Like, you know that when Buddy, when he goes to the bathroom, he's like, okay, I'm glad that no cameras are going to be able to follow me in here. I'm going to have a private moment in the bathroom.
I think that he talks about it with his employees and with his family, and they make a conscious decision to ignore the cameras or not say anything about them. Because I'm thinking about Big Brother. That's not a completely good example, and Survivor, some of these other reality shows where they have cameras everywhere, and they don't say anything about it. They don't talk about it at all. So, and I don't think they should, because they've got too much to do.
Really?
They have too much to do, and
well, it's just they never make any comments. Like, you'd think that once in a while Buddy Jr. would be like, "Oh, look, the camera's looking at me. I'm gonna put my hand through my hair and look cool for the camera."
He doesn't do that, though.
No one ever does that, though. So it's like kind of strange, because like they're going through all this shit, and then right off to the side you have these fucking cameras that are huge, and all these people a part of this reality show crew.
Yeah, I would imagine it's hard, especially when they're under fire and they have a limited amount of time to do what they need to do.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. And I hope that you watch one of these episodes and that you might be interested in it. And it's different, and it's really good to see how a big business like this operates. It's not anything, it's not a clothing factory. It's food, it's cake, it's cookies, and now they're trying to do something savory. Who knows what that's going to be?
Sophia's beef.
Yeah. Sophia's stupendous, spectacular roast beef sandwich.
I think that each character on the show should have their own dish. So, like, you got Velma, you got all the brothers and sisters of Buddy, you got all those people. Like, they should all have their own dish that's on the menu. Or maybe...
I don't think he has any brothers. I think that's all sisters.
Or, I don't know, the guys.
Brothers-in-laws.
Yeah, brothers-in-laws is what I meant. I don't give a fuck. Or they could do something, which I've seen before, where on their menu, they could have a menu called Cake Boss Favorites or something. And then you'd have, like, each character from the show has an item from the menu that's their favorite that they would recommend. Or maybe, like, a combo. So, like, Buddy Jr., he would recommend getting Sophia's beef with a cookie or something. And you could have that. That'd be fun.
Well, I wonder what they mean by a pastry-like filling versus a... God damn it! Buttercream. I wonder if they mean like something for a... what are those called? Those pastries that you eat with the vanilla-flavored filling. And
I don't know.
If that's what they mean by a pastry filling.
I don't know.
I don't either. So I just wondered why, how, or is that like a whippy? Like whippy frosting that we see at the grocery store? Which I don't think so. I think a pastry filling sounds a lot.
Yeah, you have whippy on your birthday, which you didn't even want it, but you were forced to have it for your cake.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.